Hi there, today I want to talk to you about doubt. There is an ancient Zen saying which is great doubt, great awakening, little doubt, little awakening, no doubt, no awakening. Now, who has not been plagued with doubts, especially in the times that we're going through? You know, it's a great time of transformation, a great time of revelation in a sense. We don't know what to do with all the information that is coming out, but let us doubt. Let us not be in shock. Let us move into inquiry, and let us take the opportunity to move into internal inquiry as well. Because, faced with all the stuff that we're being faced with, obviously, some people way more directly than others, but the rest of the world is kind of catching up. And faced with all this stuff, we are being confronted, right, with an existential choice, with the choice of who we want to be, who we want to become. Do we want to, just keep on living our lives disengaged from it all? Some authors call this moral disengagement. Do we want to participate somehow, but we don't know how? Do we want to be activists? Do we want to be contemplative? Do we want to be, how do we want to respond? So beyond reacting, but how do we want to respond to the collective barrage of, one thing after another, kind of dysregulating our nervous systems? We all know that. And but that is the agenda, the agenda of separation, the agenda of believing that, we're separate from each other, this kind of tribal mentality that what's happening over there is not related to me, to what's happening over here. We all know that this is not true. It's actually in our kind of essential makeup. We are, I believe, designed to notice when other people are suffering and to do something about it. Now, I don't want to be here pontificating. I don't want to be here, suggesting to anyone what they should do, because this is about, I believe, an internal calling. What I want to talk about today is moving into a space of inquiry and allow our doubts to lead somewhere. Because, as some of the authors that I'm going to quote in a minute have mentioned, when we start from a place of genuine conscious doubt, that could then lead to some truth finding, to a quest, that will then bring about some results and some consequences, and indeed some transformation. So I want to say that, doubt is double-edged, right? Because it can be both a roadblock and a catalyst. Obviously, a roadblock because in excess, it can completely paralyze you. It can drive you into overthinking. It can drive you into just, turning a blind eye, to just thinking this is all too much, this is all too exhausting, I'm not going to be dealing with this. But doubt in certain contexts and in its right measure, and perhaps only you know what that would look like for you, that kind of doubt, I believe, can lead into deep insights. And in that sense, doubt can be a sign of openness, can be a sign of being receptive to thinking, true thinking, right? Received thinking from that space that we know that just kind of, is where our internal guidance comes from, right? Thinking and feeling. So in that sense, doubt can be a leader, and it could even be a prerequisite, for true faith. intelligent faith, maybe we might call it. Now, Argentinian writer Jorge Luis Borges, he stated that doubt is one of the names of intelligence, precisely. And Spanish writer and philosopher Miguel de Unamuno was vehement about this. He said, life is doubt, and faith without doubt is nothing but death. So he seemed to be echoing Alfred Lord Tennyson's vigorous statement that there lives more faith in honest doubt, believe me, he said, than in half the creeds. Aldous Huxley is another one. He took it even further. He said, a fanatic is a man who consciously overcompensates a secret doubt. So it's kind of went off on a tangent here. Then we have Bertrand Russell, who said the whole problem with the world is that fools and fanatics are always so certain of themselves, and wiser people are so full of doubts. So, perhaps it's all a question of timing. Francis Bacon, for example, he said, if a person will begin with certainties, he or she shall end in doubts. But if that person will be content to begin with doubts, he or she shall end in certainties. And then we have French philosopher Pierre Abelard. He said, the beginning of wisdom is found in doubting. By doubting, we come to the question, and by seeking, we may come upon the truth. So that is that is what I'm casting a vote for here. With this video, I want to say that, in my view, doubt is not the opposite of certainty. There is an inner certainty waiting in the heart of conscious doubt. These are times inviting us to doubt. It's better than staying at the level of shock, as I said. We can doubt much of the external while at the same time fortifying the trust in our own internal guidance system. We can begin to feel how guided we are and can be, how attuned, how connected to a seemingly invisible yet ever so present benevolence, and very supportive of very constructive choices that we can make. In fact, delving into this is in itself a constructive choice. It's like, okay, I'm going to have a ponder. I'm going to give all this some thought and see what comes out of it. So we can ourselves be increasingly present to every little task we do, in the very spirit of anchoring into that which does not change as we go through these kind of forcibly changing, oscillating times, of everything exponential. And I believe that exponential is the right word here. We can grow into a state of awareness of who we truly are and our role on the planet at this time. Could we be here to channel great wisdom, even ancient wisdom? Could we, be channeling unity consciousness all the more? Could we be here to make sense of everything, to somehow contribute to bringing people together? I like to believe so, to have faith, even to know so. Excuse me. However imperceptibly, a touch of grace here and there, a hint of that unity consciousness, now and then at least, a gradual removing of the barriers that, a gradual removing of the barriers to what is at once most elevated and organic in us, which is the experience of love, right? So I'm going to leave it there, and I hope this is of some value, of some inspiration. My name is Nuno. Thanks very much for tuning in, and It's a pleasure to have you here. Do let me know if you have any thoughts, any contribution that you'd like to make. All the best for now. Thank you. Bye.